What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we just got the new primed Arcwing gun multi-shot mod yesterday, primed dual rounds. I've been using that a ton on stream, and basically I have the new final form of my Kuva Grattler Mirage build. We'll be showing a build today using the new mod to blast through Steel Path Exterminate really fast. Probably gonna be my new go-to going forward for Steel Path Exterminate clears. Before we go over this stuff though, make sure to sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, everything from build videos, discussion videos, news videos, and the like. You're in the right place for Warframe content. Alright, so let's get right into what we're using today and what's so strong about it. So we've got the new mod primed dual rounds, which looks like you can't even link it in game yet because it's that new. So going over to the arsenal screen to show what we're talking about here, we got it on the Kuva Grattler. This is a Kuva weapon. We've currently got a 60% toxin roll. But here's the new mod right here. Primed dual rounds plus 110% multi-shot for Arcwing guns. So compared to the normal dual rounds, you get 60 on that. We get 110 on this one. So now we have primed multi-shot and primed base damage for Arcwing guns. After these kinds of prime mods, they better be good after all these buffs. And thankfully for the Kuva Grattler is pretty good after these buffs. So the big thing about this weapon is it's a 9-meter AoE explosion gun. And 9-meter AoE cannot be edited. There's no prime firestorm for Arcwing guns, unfortunately. So we're going to make do with what we got and try to maximize the AoE through other means. Just going ahead and showing how this works. I will be showing a no Riven build today, and we've got some Exo Gok stats and some Arid Heavy Gunner Eximus. The current build is Corrosive Cold. That's going to be the best against pretty much every faction in the game, as far as a universal build. So the only problem with using this thing is summoning it down for the Heavy Arcwing Gun animation, but we do get 2,000 Overguard for putting up the animation. So we fire this thing off, and as you can see, with no buffs, not amazing, but then we start adding some damage buffs in here, and maybe even some ammo efficiency buffs. Like let's throw on Mirage's Eclipse, and this, and we just mow through them instantly. So if you wanted to do this in mission, it would work quite well. Because if we have the Energized Munitions buff up, we can just spam these shots for a while. And as you can see, it just clears out level 225 Steel Path Gunners like they're literally nothing. Like, imagine shooting an Infested with this weapon, right? Like, it would be like one bullet, so, yeah. Now, that is going to be partially because of the new mod, but it's also going to be because of us playing Mirage with a 686% damage buff. So let's go over all the builds today. Let's also go over some gameplay footage of the Steel Path, how you can clear out these missions really fast with this build concept. Okay, so first off, we got the Kuva Grattler, our main weapon here. And we are going to be using some things to buff it up for sure. But yeah, as far as the builds, like I just showed, it is a Toxin Kuva Grattler. Now, you could probably go with like a Magnetic Kuva Grattler for extra damage Overguard. But this works totally fine for everything in the game, including Steel Path Dakata, the highest level Exterminate Fissure in the game. So as far as the build build type we got here, we got Corrosive and Cold. And yeah, it's got a fire rate too, so we can spam the shots. And you might be like, okay, you're using an Arcwing gun, dude, you're just going to run out of ammo really quick. Thankfully, we have the ability called Energized Munitions on our Mirage, which when we cast it will give us 75% ammo efficiency for 12 seconds with this build. That means that we are 75% of the time not going to consume a bullet from our Grattler, and just let us spam it through the mission, like, constantly. So, as far as the Mirage build, it's a combat discipline kind of build, and what happens with combat discipline, when you get a kill, you will take damage, and that will work on Overguard, too. It'll damage your Overguard. And that's why would you run that? Because we want to actually proc these arcanes that require a damaged instance. So we have Arcane Agility and Arcane Avenger. Agility gives us 60% parkour velocity when we're damaged. And our Avenger gives us 45% crit chance when we're damaged. So we will get 99% crit chance on our Grattler after this procs. And we'll have a bunch of extra movement speed as well from proccing this. The rest of the stuff here is just to make sure we don't die, and also to make sure we're buffing our Grattler a lot. So you got Prime Sure-Footed. The Grattler has big AoE. It probably would knock you over if you didn't have this. So if you don't have this, I'd recommend finding a means of having SAS immunity. Thankfully, Overguard gives you it, but you only get 2,000 Overguard with the Grattler. So it's going to break pretty quickly. Narrow-minded, the longer duration you have, the longer Energized missions last, and the longer you can spam shots. Equilibrium, you're getting so many kills that if your Overguard breaks, you are going to need to find a way to restore your health somehow. So Equilibrium was pretty good. There's so many energy orbs dropping, you'll get some health back as you're killing all these enemies. Nero's Hatred to increase your health pool in case you are getting tons of kills. It's also, since we're running a lower rank combat discipline, we want to lose less health per kill with a lower rank combat discipline. This will increase our health, give us more HP, and also gives us more duration too, technically. You could switch this mod out for like something else. If you want to put another Umbra form on her or try to fit out Umbra Vitality somehow, that could be decent for sure. Yeah, power strength, duration, and then total eclipse. An unranked total eclipse is totally fine to buff your illusions with your damage buff. And yes, it does work on your illusions. Alright, we've technically also got the Afentis. If you throw on the Afentis at the beginning of the mission, the Afentis Ball of Starry Might buff will apply to your Arcwing gun, giving you increased reload speed, fire rate, ammo pool, and reduced recoil. And if you get a kill while you're in the bubble, it will carry that buff with you for a bit. So pretty nice. Additionally, I've got the Akarius Prime. In case we somehow run out of Arcwing gun ammo, we use this instead. It's got gas electric on it. And I've also got secondary fortifier for some more overguard. But Merciless is probably just better. Yeah, that's going to be basically the build I'm using here. Let's go ahead and get some gameplay footage. And let's see. We can do the survival. Okay, we got a Steel Path survival here against the Infested. It is a alert mission. And as you can see, when we're using the Grattler in mission like this, you just kind of hold the button down. As long as you got energized munitions active, you will not be worrying about your ammo pool at all. And here I am having a little bit of energy issues at the beginning of the mission. But once you get the ball rolling, it's really, really nice. I did have Energy Nexus on this before and Prime Redirection. But it really came down to, for missions when I wasn't wanting to wait for the animation to call on the Arcwing gun, I was just like using my Akarius. And having Combo Discipline equipped and not having any kind of way to heal yourself is kind of rough. So yeah, this build does kind of rely on Overguard from the Arcwing gun to like function properly, but it's meant to go through like really quick exterminate missions anyway, so I didn't think it was too big of an issue just to have equilibrium on here instead. So yeah, you just run through, blast everything. The 9-meter AoE. So I basically look at this thing as like a super Exceltra. If you ever use the Exceltra rifle, this thing has 9-meter AoE and it cannot be edited, and it also obviously goes through walls. It kind of feels like the Exceltra a little bit if the Exceltra was like a gigantic weapon. The Exceltra is, I think it's got smaller AoE than this, but yeah, this is pretty nice. So this is with no Riven, obviously. If you wanted to get a Riven, there's plenty of things. Like the Grattler is probably the best AoE Arcwing gun in the game. The Kuva Ayanga is also an option. The Kuva Ayanga has a lot of downsides, such as a much worse reload speed. I think it's got like an arming distance for explosions. It's usable, but it's not as good as the Grattler for sure. And the Grattler has like War Magazine too, so that's also nice. But yeah, this is really good for like clearing out exterminate missions. I did it a lot yesterday, honestly. But yeah, and the only downside of the entire setup, and that's just Arcwing guns in general, is that call-out animation. The call-out animation, it's just like, it's awkward. You cast you drop down this Arcwing gun, then you cast all your buffs, and it's like, okay, now I can actually play the game. Additionally, Arcwing guns make you move, or they make you fall quicker in missions, so you become like heavier technically. So this mod, Prime Dual Rounds, is great on this setup. But I do have some bad news in the future. I did do some Profit Taker testing last night with this new mod. And man, dude, the Profit Taker meta has been changed, guys. The Profit Taker is no longer weak to radiation for its legs. The Profit Taker is now weak to magnetic. And it also has its health buff, too. So you are going to probably have to change your Profit Taker build going forward. I know I had to. And the damage is not the same as before. Even with this new mod, I was unable to uncharged one-shot the leg with Chroma while using my mech. I didn't have any Volt Shield or anything like that, or like a Damage Blessing from the relay. But yeah, I was no longer able to one-shot the PT's leg uncharged. If I did charge it, I one-shot it, but yeah, before I could one-shot it uncharged. So that's not good. And I did change the build for the proper elements too. So we'll have to do some more messing with that in the future. PT might have been nerfed again, which is kind of funny, like when they just released this multi-shot mod that we've been waiting for. But yeah, guys, this build specifically, not talking about the Profit Taker, this is great for clearing out missions. Let's get a different mission gameplay on here as well. So that's Steel Path, Infested just getting destroyed. Here is a Steel Path Dakata. So this is the highest level Exterminate fissure in the game, and that's what this build is meant for, is just speed clearing through Exterminate missions. So it's basically the hardest part is finding where the enemies are, because you can kill them really fast. You're going to kill the entire room in like a second, and you can move on to the next room. So like, unlike frames like Titania, where it's like, okay, I can run Thermal Sunder, it's like, Thermal Sunder can feel pretty awkward on the Steel Path Exterminates. This is not going to feel awkward no matter what. I have tested it on every faction, I guess besides like Narmer, but I did test it on Murmur, Corpus, and Grenier. And then I think I did. I might have not done it Corrupted, but yeah, Corrupted are going to be destroyed by this anyway. So yeah, good on every faction. No Riven needed. As far as a good Riven, it depends what element you have. I actually went for a Toxin element on my Riven. I got Toxin double crit minus puncture, and I was pretty happy about that. But of course, it could be better. The thing is, I have a Toxin Kuva Lich weapon, so if I ever do switch to a magnetic one, which I probably won't do because this can clear out high-level missions so easily, I would maybe it would be magnetic corrosive cold, because corrosive cold I found is better than corrosive blast in a lot of situations. Like blast can be fun, but remember too, this thing has blast built into the explosion. So we're currently doing corrosive cold and blast on the explosion, and corrosive cold IPS on the direct hit. So we got a good amount of procs, but the main thing here is just make sure you do as much damage as possible. We don't really care about statuses, we care about the actual damage type itself. Just hitting these enemies as hard as possible to kill them as quickly as possible. So yeah, with the crit chance Riven, I'm over 100% crit chance. Reminder too, you cannot melee while you have a heavy Arcwing gun out. Now let's go ahead and show how this works with the, now it says I have the least damage dealt, but I also have the most kills, so kind of weird display screen there. Let's go ahead and show it with the Riven now, and you can see how that works. So we have the Riven, so now we're at, it's double crit, Toxin minus puncture. Now we're at 73% crit chance and 5.8 crit damage multiplier. So if we get Avenger proc, we will be getting orange crits sometimes with this build. And yeah, Avenger and Agility are just nice to have, nice things to have proc as you run through the mission. They're not really needed for this build at all. You could go Multi-Augmented or Energize or something else if you wanted to. Alright, so here we are now. We're going to go ahead and cast these buffs. Let's hope that Avenger procs like on the first enemy. So Energize basically just lets you spam the shots from there. So Avenger proc, I saw an orange crit there, so as you can see, it just clears out these high-level Steel Path enemies really fast. This build is not meant for Endurance, this build is meant for Steel Path Exterminate missions. So she got a good amount of procs on her there too. 777,000 orange crit with an Arcwing gun. So it's pretty nice to have this new mod giving us guaranteed multi-shot. Making it where if you have a multi-shot Riven, you can stack up like 300% multi-shot in some situations. If you're really going crazy, there's Containment Breach as well. So yeah, great stuff there. And as far as some other Arcwing guns that benefit from this, I did test out some other ones yesterday. The Ianga feels better, just not amazing. The Fluctus felt better, but the Fluctus is for some reason not full auto with the new full auto changes. The Larkspur felt better. Pretty much every Arcwing gun's gonna feel better because it's more multi-shot. I mean, we literally have prime multi-shot and primed damage now, so it better be good after all those buffs. So, hope you guys found this video fun and helpful. It's a really nice build. I've been using it a lot, and I'll be using it a lot more going forward. So, let me know how you feel about it down below. I will see you guys next time, and appreciate your support. Peace!